Hello, hockey fans. The Minnesota Hockey Connection Show is on the air. We're in downtown Duluth City Hall. We're at PACT-TV Studios. It's Tuesday, and it's April 22nd. The Frozen Four is over, but the Pro Stanley Cup is going on, and I tell you what, my guest here, I know he's watching, staying up late at night, eating popcorn, watching the games. We got Coach Randolph on the phone. Not on the phone. We got him in person. And
we got this other guy on the phone.
Yes, and then we got his assistant coach over at Northern Lakes. Congratulations to TK, Tom Klein, the new coach at Northern Lakes. Welcome, TK.
Thanks, Jerry, and good to talk to you, Mike. I'm very glad to take over the program where Mike laid a great foundation this past season.
Yeah, and your buddy here, Coach Randolph, he just broke the record for the most wins in Minnesota coaches high school ever. I mean, I don't even know how many, what's the number, but I know it's in the 720s, I think. You know?
I don't know. I don't remember it, but I'm really, TK, you and I have talked many times, and I know what a great fit it is and how fortunate they are to have you up there, and I know your cabin's close by. Just the logistics of there, it works out great for you. So I can't wait to talk to you during the winter and follow you guys, and I'm really excited for you because you've really earned a chance to be a head coach. You've been the best assistant in the state for a long time. I can speak to that, and I know Ken Pauley would reinforce that. So I'm just really excited for you, TK.
I appreciate that, Mike, a lot. And just for the record, you left with 727 wins, and I was hoping that you'd end with about 760 to 790.
Yeah, but you know what happens? Family comes involved, and hey, it was hard for Coach Randolph with his wife and all the grandkids in the city, so I can understand where Coach Randolph is coming from, where, hey, family is number one, TK.
I think everybody understands that. I mean, you look at how long Mike's been going, and the fact of the matter is the last 4 years he's done a lot of commuting, and I don't care who you are. That's a strain on the family, and with all the grandkids he's got and how much he loves his family, it makes sense to me. It really does.
Right. I was just talking to Mike before the show here, and we were talking, he has 40 years of high school and 6 years of college that we know. How many years of coaching do you have in high school and whatever?
Mike and I have very similar numbers. I did 6 years of youth hockey in Wayzata. I did 1 year as an assistant at Hamlin, and then I finished 43 years. So this year will be my 50th year of coaching and my 44th year coaching high school. Mike and I have very, very similar numbers there. The two of us combined was 96 years last year.
Is there any two coaches out there on any team that come within 30 years of you two? I don't think so. TK, do you think there's any two coaches?
There's not one staff that was like ours the last 3 years with that kind of experience. Not one. There might be a guy that's at 15 or 20. And a few guys like Kurt Giles and Ken Pauley, they've both been doing it. Kurt 26 years and Ken Pauley 33. But not in the 40s, no.
No, and the other thing is we accumulated those years being together the last 3 years, TK. As probably the other side of it is the smallest staff in the state. There's only the two of us. And you know my feelings on that. I think you feel pretty much the same way. The messaging is way easier with a smaller number of people. You look at some of these benches across the state, there's 5, 6 guys on the bench, and then it gets down to 3. But you and I did it together, and I never had so much fun, and you did beyond the call of duty. The only way it works is when you got a guy like you who's willing to do all the work, and we just were a great team, TK, and you don't see that across the state.
That's great. Hey TK, now that you're the head coach, are you still looking for an assistant coach now, and then that's your next job?
Well, I'm following Mike's model because it works so well to have a couple of voices. And I worked with Dave Herbst when I was the Hopkins coach. He was my assistant for 3 years. And then a year later, he took a couple of years later, he took the girls coaching job at Cooper for 2 years. And I joined him and Bill Gorel, but that was just for a 2-year stint. And then when I returned to Benilde, he had become the girls coach there, and there was a 4 or 5 year run where I would stay on the ice and coach his goalies. And so I've actually been involved hockey-wise with Dave Herbst for 9 years, and he agreed to join me up there. And I really like it because he and Mike have so much in common in terms of playing at a higher level after high school, whether it was junior hockey or in Dave Herbst's case, they both played for Bob Johnson. Mike with the Olympic team, and Herbie was on the '77 national title team. He was on the '73 Hibbing State Championship team, and then he was in North Star and Flyer camps, but played his whole pro career in the East Coast League or the AHL, and so he never made the big team. But I don't know of two guys that study NHL hockey more than Mike Randolph and Dave Herbst. And so he agreed to join me, and his family is over in the Rapids area, so it's kind of a good fit for him as well. But I had to do with him what Mike did with me, and that's get a guy that's got experience and knows how to teach the game and agrees. Both Herbie and I agree with Mike. You have fewer coaches, it's a consistent message, and there's no confusion. So if we find the right guy that wants to learn and serve in kind of non-coaching ways, then we will hire him. But if we can't find the right guy, I'm just going to have a heart-to-heart with the AD and say, a guy with a lot of experience is going to want to come and listen to two older guys do everything, but that's just how it is. We're not a big program. We don't cut anybody. So, I do have a guy, and he's committed to it, and we're going to follow the same model that Mike set up. It really is effective.
TK, did they? Do you have any idea how many they interviewed, or were you one of the few? Was there a number of coaches that
I know
applied?
there were 5 guys that applied.
Okay.
And in the end, they made the decision to, and they presented it to the superintendent, that they can, and it's consistent with the union policy, they can hire internally. And so the week after we got back from state, the athletic director, Bill Magnuson, he was all wrapped up with the boys in the state tournament. And the week after that, it was the spring break. So when he got back, they were closing the opening, and then they didn't commit to anybody. But then in the end, they decided to just say, hey, this is an internal hire. And the union contract, the master agreement, allows them to do that. So in the end, they didn't interview anyone else. They just talked to me.
Was this person that they suggested you teach and have learned from you, was he one of the 5, or don't you know?
That I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know that
because
one.
they had 5 back when Megs told me that he interviewed 5 others than me. So there are, and it'd be interesting to see how many of the 5 applied again, once it opened again,
I have a feeling, I'll find out more. I got a feeling there's a couple, but I do know this, that there were a couple of guys that were in that original list that when they offered me the job that are actually interviewing this week for the girls' position. So they're looking for 3 head coaches, both boys and girls hockey, and then I think a soccer or a girls track team or something like that.
Okay.
So, but yeah, they a couple of those guys are going through the interview process this week for the girls' position.
Okay.
Going back on saying that you and Coach Randolph coached the team and JV team, the minimum coaching and people. I remember I've been doing this 35 years, and I kind of laugh right now. Remember Elk River and Tony Sarsland? He had eight coaches on that bench, and he had 2 packs. He chewed gum, and he had 2 packs of gum, and he'd run out, giving it to his coaches and that. It was funnier than hell. And then he'd get in front of the players on the bench, and he'd whistle. I mean, just good memories. Make me laugh now.
Yeah.
Okay, TK, you're at Northern Lakes now, and one thing I noticed last year is that you're trying to improve the schedule. Has anything changed there? And plus, you got a new team in your section, and Sartell, which is a very good team, dropping down from AA.
Yeah, we picked up a game with Sartell. I wanted to get 2 if we could, but we do have a game with them. We also are going up to, and Mike put this in the process, and then I ran into Wyatt, the head coach of the Class A state champion East Grand Forks Green Wave, and I ran into him over at the high potential 16 tryouts, and he did confirm that we've got the game up there, kind of a second half of the season, towards the end on a Friday night, and off the top of my head, I should have brought it with me here, but we definitely are picking up some teams that we did not have last year. We are going over to Superior.
Oh, good.
And we are losing a game with Alex because they went Class AA, and they just called like 2 days ago and said because we're AA, we're trying to get more AA teams, which I totally would agree with. I know Mike would agree with that. That said, we did beat them 3 times, and it's a great rivalry, and you would think they'd want to keep a rivalry going regardless of size of the school. So we'll pick up somebody, but we picked up Gentry again, and I just confirmed with the Totino Grace coach, and their AD sent a contract, but we are going down to Totino Grace the second game of the season. So we definitely are picking up more teams. I look at it and I think we're going to be lucky to be 500 next year by the end of the season.
Right.
And my only inspiration is, one, Mike, how much he stresses it's all about process, not your wins and losses. And 2, East Grand Forks, 13-13-2 going into the state tournament. So the tough schedule, even if we're 500 or below, I think will serve us well.
The only thing you got to fight, TK, as you know, is the numbers you're battling with, and you just hopefully get through it healthy. You know, that's the only thing that you worry about in a smaller school. You know, you don't have big numbers, so you know all that. But you know, those are the kinds of things you worry about. You know.
I like how you manage it, though. How much discussion we had on. Let's get 4 periods out of as many kids as we can. Obviously, we're not going to play Drew Paulbeck or a Wyatt Balmer in a JV game, but or even many seniors. We did with a few seniors, but all those underclassmen, we did as good of a job to get them that extra period, that 4 periods, which over the course of the season, it adds up. It definitely is like 5 or 6 games, but if we maxed it out, it would have been 8 games by playing 4 periods. And we had a lot of kids do that, and so we kind of, increased our depth that way by having kids do double duty.
Yeah, you're gonna end up doing that again this year, I'm sure. And in the end, the kids really want to do it. I mean, we had kids, as you know, TK, coming up to us when we didn't play them and asked, like Parker. I didn't play him in a couple games, and he came up and said, "Well, how come I'm not playing?" You know, so they want to play. Period.
Well, I tell you what, that probably helped a lot from you guys getting to the Northern Lakes getting to the state tournament for the second time ever. So that development, like Coach Randolph says, it's not about the wins and losses, but develop these kids and get them ready for the playoffs.
Yeah.
That's what counts.
Yeah.
Yep.
So you playing Little Falls twice, TK?
Yes.
Good.
Yep.
Good.
Oh, that's right. They moved into your section too.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
You got Little Falls and Sartell, so yeah. So you're not losing too much in that section. I mean, Alex leaves, but
Well, just tell me, TK, so I can plan my schedule this winter. You're going to be playing Marshall at Marshall, I hope.
We're playing Superior.
In Superior.
I've got a question mark on Marshall because I haven't seen that on the. I got to double check that one. I got to call Mags on that one.
You got to play
That was
them.
on our list.
TK, you have to play them. They're going to be good.
yep, they're good.
They're very good. They got their whole team back. They were good last year, remember?
They're very good.
So
Very good.
Here's what I had. I had a triple header coming up this winter sometime. Proctor, because we played Proctor in Pequot. Marshall.
We've got Proctor on the schedule.
Good. Marshall at Marshall. And are you playing Denfeld again?
Yeah, they're coming to our place.
Yeah.
Good. And Superior. So, yeah.
And we're going to Superior.
How about summer, Jerry?
I know.
How about summer tournaments? What are you doing this summer?
Just going to ask that.
Right now, I'm just looking at the Egan, but I'm going to find out on Thursday. I'm going to meet with all the players during the lunch hour, and I'm going to have the weekends, the dates, and I need to find out how many guys can actually make it before I finalize that. I've got time to do it, but there's a new coach in Egan, so I need to make sure they're running that tournament. But more importantly, I want to find out that our guys are going to be available before I commit and have the booster club send money for the deposit.
Right. Did we play our JV in the Egan too, or did we just go varsity?
No, we just played
varsity.
varsity guys.
Well, you guys came down to Proctor last year, didn't you?
Yeah.
Proctor.
You're going to do
Yep.
Proctor, aren't you?
That's the one I want to do.
Yeah.
And I just want to make sure I'm going to have the bodies because we've got some kids like Sam. Sam made the 54s. He's skating with the 54s this weekend.
Okay. Anybody else?
So he's the only one that advanced. A couple
Okay.
guys that you nominated ended up going on spring vacation.
Okay.
And so only a couple guys were actually in that 16-17 tryout.
Well, you got a place to stay. I told my wife, have those scrambled eggs ready. And,
Well, that's the deal. That Seals coming to Proctor in the fall. I want to know that I can stay.
You're there.
On Peabody Lane.
You're locked in on Peabody Lane. Yep.
So you're
Good
just,
deal.
TK, you're just going to practice because rinks are pretty full on camps and that one day a week during June and July when high schools can practice?
Yeah, the good news on that is Mike Muller, who very well versed in Jack Blatherwick overspeed training, he's actually moving his camp down to Brainerd 3 days a week. So I'll be there with Herbie on Tuesdays, and Mike will be there on Monday, Wednesday, Thursday. So the guys are getting the 2 hours with me like we did with Mike last summer, but they're getting a better time slot, and then they can go to the GPS weight training down in Brainerd as well. So I think it might be better for those guys that are going to sign up for everything, and I'm going to talk to them about that on Thursday as well.
So are you going to be staying at the hangar again this season probably?
I got the okay about night before last in a text. They said, yeah, you're good to go on the hangar. I had to write a letter requesting it, though. They wanted to present it to the board again. So I did my appeal. I said my whole thing is contingent on getting that hangar. If I don't get the hangar, then Meg's got to look elsewhere.
Yeah, Megs don't want to look elsewhere.
That worked out pretty good for you two coaches last year and that. And God, you guys didn't even get sick of each other, being around each other 24/7?
No, it went so fast, it was unbelievable. It was a blast. So
So
Jerry, it's one of the most fun seasons I've had is being able to get home from a game. We'd watch the game, we'd both make lists of stuff we needed to work on. Me with the D and Mike with both the forwards and the systems. But to be able to focus solely on hockey during a season, during the week, and then go home and see my wife on the weekends, I felt like a kid, just having fun at camp the whole winter. It went by so fast.
Yeah.
That's great you got to have fun in this business because you're not doing it for the pay.
No way.
No.
So, what are you looking for? How many numbers? I mean, talking about small numbers in these small towns, but what are the numbers up there in Northern Lakes? And you're with how many schools? 3 different high schools?
There's Pequot, there's Crosby, and Aitken. There's 2 other schools that used to provide kids, but they just don't have any hockey players. So we've got 3 schools. 26 of our kids last year were Pequot. 1 was from Crosby, and 5 were from Aitken. And I'm looking at absolute height, top number 36, based on Bantams. And but a more realistic number, I'm thinking it's going to be 32.
Okay.
That's how these towns are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's why you have to play them 4 periods then to make it.
Exactly.
Because there are going to be injuries and sickness and whatever. And what happens in
How many Bantams do you have in the camp, TK?
Well, I don't have that list yet. That stuff
Okay.
has just gone out. But if all the eligible Bantams for high school come out, we'll have 10 or 12 guys.
Okay.
So add that to the 22 returning. That's why I come up with this number of 32 or 34. 30, right in that area.
So you have 4 goalies, TK, or what's going on there?
Well, I've got one goalie who we've got the 3 returning.
Yeah.
I think it'll be 3. It's possible it could be 2. And then we've got one Bantam coming up for sure. And then there's another Bantam that has eligibility that is interested in going to the camp just to see how he does. And I'm open to that. You'd be open to that.
Yeah. Yeah.
But they don't have that many goalies. But there is a kid that would like to at least go to the camp to see how it goes. And I told his dad, well, we'll talk. We'll talk after our 7-week, our 14 hours of being on the ice and the scrimmaging that we might be doing.
Hey, TK, I've been talking to a few hockey people, and they all say, Randolph will be back coaching. And I say it's a 50-50 myself, but it has to be in the city so he can see his grandkids. What's your bet on that?
Yeah.
Well, I think 2 things. On the one side, I get Mike wanting to be with the family and take a step back. Even if it was for a year, he's had a long run. The flip side is, I don't know what job it would be up there because I think I don't know, as a Denfeld coach, is he staying or not?
Oh, don't.
You guys heard?
ISD 709 and Mike Randolph will not connect.
There's history there.
Well, I do think this. There's 2 times when jobs open up. One is the month or so after the season ends, and the other one is within a week or so of school ending at the end of May. And so there's another probably dozen jobs that might open up. And I think if the right job down in the cities opened up, and they did with Mike what happened both at St. Thomas Academy and at Northern Lakes, is he got a call and say, would you be interested in looking at it? And I think if it was interesting to Mike, I think he'd take a look at it. He'd at least sit down and talk to him about it. So what Mike does this year, is contingent, I think, more on the Duluth area. But I think a year from now, if the right job opened up, I would not be surprised if Mike is back in it.
Yeah, I think he's going to be making a lot of popcorn and back in his man cave, watching a lot of hockey this year.
You know who plays tonight, TK?
I know, and guess what? I picked Montreal to upset the Capitals, and they went to overtime, but I did pick the Kings to knock off the Oilers.
I'll tell you what, Montreal, Washington was lucky, TK, that the the game ended and they could get back to the locker room and regroup because Montreal was all over them. And I was impressed with them, how they turned their game around and kept working. And their goalie's good, real good.
Well, let me ask you one quick question, Mike. Give me a rundown on Toronto and Florida. That's the only ones I want to ask you about right now.
All I'll tell you is this. Whoever wins the Tampa Bay, Florida series will play Vegas in the Stanley Cup Finals.
Wow.
Oh, that's your two
You heard
teams.
it here, TK.
That would be your two
Yeah,
teams.
well,
huh?
And I haven't,
Pretty good
hey,
at that.
TK, no, I haven't been wrong too often, have I?
No, you haven't. You whooped me the last 2 years in the playoffs.
Who do you have, TK, in the Stanley Cup Finals?
Well, I'm going to go with Florida, and I'm going to go with a long shot team, but I think that the Kings are playing really tough hockey right now.
God.
Well, the beginning of the season, I had the New York Rangers. I was a good pick. And then I had Colorado. But I'll stick with Colorado. I think they can get some things going. I just don't know about their goaltending right now. You might have to go up there and help them. But on the east side, I like Tampa Bay's playing real good right now, and Toronto's playing pretty good too. Well, we'll see.
Toronto looked really good.
I'll tell you what, though, isn't it a different game when Stanley Cup plays? What they don't play this during the regular season at all. All of a sudden, there's more hits in one period than there is in the full game. I mean,
The best thing that happened to Toronto, TK, they didn't have to play Boston, and they didn't have to play Florida the first round, or somebody
I
like
agree.
that. They're playing Ottawa, who will play them hard and whatever, but they have no experience, and they're going to get a lot of confidence out of that. And
Winnipeg is playing pretty good too. That's
Winnipeg
another
is
team
too.
to look at.
Yeah.
They got a goaltender.
Yeah.
Hey, we got two Hall of Fame coaches here, Coach Mike Randolph and Coach Tom Klein. Everyone calls them TK. They got over 90 years of coaching in high school and some college, and it's crazy that many years coaching and that, and they're still having fun. And Mike, Coach Randolph, is going to take the year off, and then most likely
Who says that? I'm not taking a year off yet, Jer.
No, that's right. You might get a phone call. It's coming in right now.
No.
But
I'm in a great place right now, and I'm ready to take a year off if I have to.
Right.
And as TK knows me, so he knows if the right call comes, I'll look at it. If it's not,
Yep. Well, I'll tell you what. Coach Randolph had a good run at Duluth East and brought him to state a million times. And this town really got big in hockey because of Duluth East and Coach Randolph bringing them to state and the interest in hockey. So I got to give you credit for all the years both of you guys put in, and keep it going if you can. But hey, have fun. Life is short. But thank you, TK, and thank you, Coach Randolph.
Thanks for having me.
And thank you, the producers at PACT-TV Studio, Sean, Jim, and Liz. And hey, we'll see you at the rink.